Hello everyone, it's Karen. Okay, so today is Saturday. It is a new moon in Taurus, and one thing I've done for a while and not really talked about is basically I kind of block out the new moon on my calendar 2 days before, 2 days after, and I try and like chill extra those days. And so this one especially, just because it's in my sun sign, and also because it happens to fall on a weekend, I am just like nurturing myself this weekend, trying to stay off the internet, trying to just like read and cook healthy food and all this sort of stuff. I actually have pasta, water boiling for pasta on the stove right now that I probably need to hurry up and get to. But let me quickly talk about the book that I finished this morning, which is The Tidal Zone by Sarah Moss. So this book was so perfect. It was quiet. It was comforting in a really weird way. I'm gonna put the pasta on. I'll be right back. Okay, so this book basically tells the story of this girl who is at school. She's 15 years old. She just had lunch. She's kind of outside hanging out with her friends, and all of a sudden she collapses. She stops breathing. Her heart stops. You think she is dead. And basically the book follows what happens after that. So she is in the hospital for about 2 weeks, I think, 12 days maybe. And they're just trying to figure out what's wrong with her. The narrator is her dad, and he's kind of like a stay-at-home sort of dad because the mom is a doctor and is super busy with her work. This all takes place in England, by the way. And it just kind of follows like how a family deals with like tragedy or stress, intense stress within their family, and how ordinary life goes on around you when you are in a situation like this. And obviously, like, I'm not a parent, I've never had a sick child, but I can definitely relate to just like chaos in your personal life and how everything else proceeds as normal around you. So they have like another daughter, and she still has to go to school, and her lunch still needs to be packed for her, and you know, her life is just going on while craziness is happening to her sister. And then also the dad, the narrator, talks about how there's intense chaos going on around them in different countries, and yet they feel their pain is so like horrible to them. And he has this awareness that like actually like my daughter may be in the hospital, but like she's alive, she's fine, she has what she needs, and there are people in other situations in other countries that have things a lot worse. And just like how you can be in your pain but aware of life continuing as usual and life being way worse other places. And yeah, I just feel like it was very reflective and somber, and yeah, I really liked it. And I don't really know what to say about it because, you know, there's not a ton that happens, but I just really liked how it was written and about the whole idea of perspectives, I think, throughout the novel. So that's that. I'm gonna have my pasta and keep on reading something else. Of it, it's so cute. Oh. All right, my beans have been soaking overnight, and apparently now I can finally make tempeh, which I tried to make yesterday. So ooh, there they are. Okay, I have to watch Sean and Bert's video to see what happens next? I think I have to boil them for 3 hours, but I'm gonna double check.
See these? These are the soya beans. They've been soaking overnight and they've gone kind of oblong, like a Tic Tac. I mean, it's kind of, people are complaining that it's a boring process, but I live for this kind of stuff. What's the word?
Drain?
Drain? Yeah, we can drain this colander. They're going in to the pot, and that's just going to slowly boil for 3 hours, and then we can all sing the song by Mountain Man. Beans boiling in the pot. And we'll link the song that we sing. It helps the beans to cook.
Okay, Sean and Bert told me personally, not just the interweb, that I need to, drain them and then let them simmer for 3 hours, which is kind of a perfect time to like read and chill. And I'm gonna make a salad for lunch during that time. But some stuff like this that takes forever actually kind of forces you to be slower paced, because what are you supposed to do for 3 hours, right? So I think that's kind of cool about trying to make your own stuff rather than buying store-bought. While they are cooking, I am going to try and make this Protein Power Rainbow Quinoa Salad, which is from this cookbook I bought this weekend. And I'm gonna be trying to only cook from this one, or mostly cook from this one, just to figure out what recipes I like. The recipe starts with quinoa, and one thing I love is there's this store, it's probably about 45 minutes from my house, but it allows you to bring your own containers and buy in bulk. So this is my quinoa, just purchased in bulk. Okay, so the soybeans are almost done boiling or simmering, whatever. So I thought that in the meantime, because they're almost done, I would tell you about The Prison Doctor by Dr. Amanda Brown, which I finished last night before bed. I actually started and finished it in one sitting. I really liked it. This book reminds me of books that I used to read about teaching before I was a teacher. I would read these books by Tori Hayden, and they're basically about like a teacher who is really not traditional at all and does whatever she needs to reach these children that no one else can really reach. And they're nonfiction, but they're kind of a teacher having a role outside of what the norm is, I suppose. And it just reminded me of this book with Dr. Amanda Brown. Basically, she is a GP, and I think she might be like in charge of the practice or towards the top of the, I don't really know, okay? But she's in practice with a few other doctors, and all of a sudden the UK changes something about how they need to see patients, and basically you get like a base pay rate, but you get more money if you mention certain things to your patients or ask them certain questions. And Amanda basically thinks that's crap. She thinks that like if you're a good doctor, there's a lot of times when you would ask all those questions and make sure you're covering all your bases, but you shouldn't get paid extra for doing your job. And then she says there are other times when those questions are just not relevant. Like you already know the answer to them, or they don't fit into the conversation. And to ask those just so that you could check off a few boxes and get paid more is going to be obvious. It's not going to be genuine, and it wastes time when you already have so little time with patients. And so she just kind of ups and quits, like, because basically the doctors she's working with are pressuring her to follow the new guidelines, and she basically is like, no, like, I'm going to do what I do, and you're going to have to pick up the slack or whatever. Like, she wasn't really saying that, but she hoped that they would be patient with her. And when they flat out say like, no, you're doing this or we're kicking you out, she's like, all right, well, peace out. Like, I'm not doing it. And so she ends up getting a call from somebody that is hiring a doctor for a like a prison, like kind of a juvenile home or juvenile prison for boys that are, I don't know how old, like maybe like 15 to 18 or so. And anyway, so she ends up going there and being their doctor for a bit. She goes to another prison for a bit where she's with like very, very severe people that have been accused of pretty severe crimes. And then it also talks about her in a women's prison. And I just thought it was really, really interesting, really crazy, some of the stuff that she dealt with. And I would say that the focus of this book is not so much on like the actual medicine. In my opinion, it was more a glimpse into the prison system in the UK. And I was more curious about like what life was like for the prisoners and how they got there and all that sort of stuff, as opposed to her medicine. There was one interesting thing though about the medicine part of things, which is basically that she only had access to their medical records, and she like maybe could have asked to find more information about them, but she purposely didn't want to pry or find out anything besides just like the person that presented themselves to her, because she didn't want to judge them in any kind of way. Like she just wanted to encounter them as a human being, and I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I need to check and see if this author has written anything else. I think they are 65 now, at least according to when this book was published, and still working. So I'm curious to check up on them and see what's going on.
Yeah. Pattern dry goods will on the top as well. Right. So we get the dry as we can, a little bit of moisture, tiny bit is good. Yeah.